Hello, welcome back to Bridgetown. In the previous video, we talked a bit about this long-term project and I started showing you around. We started by the Port District Gate, because it's still the only thing there right now. Then we crossed the bridge to the Hub Island, where we visit the two towers and the tunnel, the bottle house and the small fisherman houses. We talked about the one-leg crab tavern. Then we saw the bridge to Shaun's Island and we finished with the old fisherman's house and boat. By the way, I am already working on a short story for this mysterious old man. I'm thinking about making videos to tell those stories, using Bridgetown as a background. What do you think? Okay, so what are we going to see today? Today we walk into the Citadel and start touring it. Following the path we started in the last video, we are now here at the bridge that connects the Hub Island to the Citadel, and its name is the North Gate Bridge. Yeah, we really need to find better names for the bridges. Anyway, this is the very first bridge I made here at Bridgetown, so for me it's special. It's a short bridge and it's straight, unlike the other two bridges we saw previously that were in the diagonal. But it has the same idea, to be simple. It has the same floor made of oak and the same parapets. There is a small difference here. The parapet fences are made of dark oak instead of spruce. It's just that I had dark oak when I made this bridge, and a lot of spruce when I did the others, so the difference. This bridge has two details I would like to highlight. The first is the use of walls on the arch to add a bit more depth to it. The second is the statues on both sides of the bridge. It's meant to be a face with a crown. All bridges connecting to the Citadel have it. Well, I think it would be more accurate to say all bridges that connect to a Citadel entrance. There are at least two other bridges already connecting to the Citadel Island that do not have the face. Let's say it's a special detail, more related to the Citadel gates than the bridges themselves. Moving forward, we have the North Gate. The North Gate is at the base of a tower, with a huge banner with the colors of the town, and a map room at the top. We will go there on the next video. I wanted to make this entrance something epic. Well, it does not have the size to be really epic, but I think it still creates this feeling of grandeur, of majesty. Probably is the height of the ceiling, but maybe the hanging lanterns help a bit. I must tell you, it looks amazing at night with the Rethinking Voxels shaders. Let's be real, everything looks amazing at night with these shaders. From here, we can take the left and go up to the Citadel, or take the right and go down to the Citadel Small Pier. Let's go to the pier first. The pier is just a dock for small boats. It's used to bring in goods to the Citadel, but also for leisure. Again, I used the statues book to make some of the decoration, like the fisherman and the fish in the barrel. I also use it to add the axe to the table and the fish hanging from the line. I especially like doing those. On the other side of the river, I built a custom tree. I think about it as a natural bonsai. It's an old tree that for some unknown reason bent over the wall. The swing is also so old no one remembers who put it there. If only the swing would swing. Okay, on the pier we have this round building, and we will see another one today. This one is my first storage building. Well, the building is the first that I designed to be a storage, because I used to live in a cave and I made a small storage room there before. Doing this rooftop was not easy. It was my first circular rooftop, way before the towers we saw in the last video. As of today, I have a new version of this building with a much better rooftop. I actually have a tutorial for this new version that you can check out if you want. This one has two floors. The first floor is the main area with some utilities, like the crafting table at the center. you will notice that this building has an internal structure, with columns and arches. Not everybody likes it. For sure, it consumes space, and it's not as if everything would fall down if they weren't there. Some think it adds unnecessary detail, but hey, I like details, so I keep making them. You know, Bridgetown is a fantasy project, and the gravity in this game is crazy, but I like to think my buildings make sense. There is a small room on this floor with a bed. I used to sleep here after I built the storage. This was before I built my house, of course. I moved most of the things to a new storage building, but I still use this one. I actually have multiple storages across the town, storing different things. It may be not so efficient, I know, but it gives me a reason to revisit different parts of the city regularly. Now this is the way to the second floor. In the second floor, I still have some things, like enchanting books I found on my explorations, saddles, potions. Some of the stuff that are still here will be moved to other places, and I may bring other things here. On the center of the building I made a small crane. It's supposed to be a lift, used to move things up and down. I keep imagining how Minecraft would feel if we could hire villagers to work for us, and the crane actually worked. I know you can get those things using mods, but imagine those things in the vanilla game. Imagine how this would feel alive. Besides the crane, I have a wall structure that goes up to the roof and helps supporting it. As of now, it's just decoration, but I think it adds to this building atmosphere. And this is an important aspect of a building. It should give you a certain feeling, at least if you are building for the pleasure of building. Let's go up the stairs on the wall to see two more things. The first is the Night Owl Watchtower. It works as a small gate to the Citadel, from where the soldiers can watch over the port district and part of the Citadel. It's a simple and short tower with 3 floors. The rooftop is supposed to be a 4-side pyramid. I could have done it very simple, and initially it was made only of stairs, but I didn't like it. So I came with the idea of trying something different. And oh boy, I really tried. If you look from above, the sides seems to be slightly curved. They are not, but the fact each block on a row is in a different height generates this effect. This also helps adding depth to the roof. The base is flatter, and so I added the trapdoors every other block to avoid the huge contrast with the rest of the rooftop. The top of the tower is made with mushroom stem. I mentioned in the previous video I like to use it for walls. They are white, but not entirely white. They really look like walls to me, especially fantasy and medieval walls. Then we have this spruce structure that helps giving some depth to the top, and creates a very distinctive break to the rest of the tower. The arches at the top and bottom of the windows create a distinctive fantasy feeling, in my opinion. The fact the arches are taller than wider also adds to this effect. It's not something I use a lot, but I like the results here. The rest of the tower is simple. Stone variant blocks, simple windows. The detail I like the most is the darker blocks at the corners. There are many old buildings in real life that follow this pattern, and I use it sometimes. The tower works as a second gate to the Citadel, but it's not a checkpoint per se. In any case, you will always find a couple soldiers guarding the passage at any hour of the day. Originally, there was a central pillar here on the ground floor, but this is a busy passage, so that didn't make sense. As I have been making small changes to this building this week, I ended up removing the central pillar. By the way, I enjoyed decorating this passage very much, especially the corners with the plants and flowers, where I added leaf litter on the ground to make it more realistic. I mean, leaves fall from plants all the time, and we will not have someone cleaning this passage very often. I also put ender chests and crafting tables here and on every floor. While this building has absolutely no purpose other than be here, I like to have some utilities for when I am around. The crafting table and an ender chest are probably the most important ones. I also reworked the stairs a bit to be larger and less steep. On the way to the first floor, there is a door that gives access to the Citadel wall. We will talk about the wall in the next video most likely. The first floor is where the captain of this garrison can be found. The Night Owl is an old order and had defended the Citadel many times in the past. This tower is almost as old as the order itself, and you can see this by the captain's office. The paintings on the wall and the many old books all tell a story. I'll write about it someday. We also have installed Portfolio on the server, and this provides me with more paintings to decorate the walls. As usual, I used heads to decorate, but I also added some items on invisible frames, like the clock in the column or the compass in the corner table. Something I added this week was the locker. Here we can find spears. After a couple weeks from the drop, we were able to update the server to the Mounts of Mayhem update, and now I can use the spears for decoration. The last floor is where the soldiers can rest and eat. Besides all the usual decoration, I added the heads to the wall. They are like trophies collected by the soldiers of the Night Owl Order. The spear and shield resting on the wall were made using the Armor Poser mod. It does almost the same thing as the statues data pack, but with a better interface. I also use it to make the spears in the locker at the captain's office. Okay, now when we leave the tower and enter the Citadel, you will be faced with two possibilities. The first will lead you to an area that most likely will have houses and small shops. That's the idea, at least. This area will end in a steep hill where I will put a castle that will go over a stone arch that will connect to the port island. One day. The second possibility, to the right, will lead you to a more noble part of the Citadel. It's in this area we can find the last building we will see today. It's the Cartographic Services office, the other round building I told you we would see today. It's meant to be a circular building, but you can also say it's a square with big round corners. I don't mind. On the second floor there is a balcony. I want to make arches between the pillars, but because most pillars are not aligned, I was not sure I would be able to make them look good. But in the end, I think they do. I was actually surprised with the result when I finished. The ground floor has a second roof with support beams underneath. This floor is tall, so I added high windows to it. And please, don't ask about the tiles at the bottom. I put them there and I like them. That's it, nothing more. There was a small space between the Night Owl Tower and the Cartographic Services Office building. Too small for another building, so I decided to make a small garden. I think it is kind cozy, especially at night. Okay, let's go inside the office. The first floor is where the cartographers and their apprentices work. When you arrive, you are greeted by an apprentice that will take care of your needs of maps and related documents. Usually, you would go no further, but you may need to discuss something with the master cartographer. In this case, the apprentice will take you to them, and this would be his table. The rest of this floor has more working stations for the other cartographers, including this cool-looking map table for them to work on bigger maps. There is this one thing I would like to highlight here. At the end of the day, on this side of the room, we can see light shafts entering through the windows. I really like this effect. I made this floor very high and add little light to create this specific mood. I wanted it to look like an old and important place. And on this fantasy world, maps are indeed a very important item. Now that I'm looking around, I think I am missing candles. Definitely, some candles would fit nicely. I will add them later. To the second floor. The second floor area is just a storage room for documents and maps. But the balcony can give you a nice view of different parts of the Citadel and beyond. I'm planning on building a couple houses for cartographers at the side of the office. When that is made, I'll bring cartographers to work on this building. Unfortunately, I can't do the same with the tower. I mean, I can, but I think it would be weird to have normal villagers there, instead of something that actually resembles a soldier. Maybe in the future, I'll be able to do something about it. Now, before we finish, let me ask you this. Are you liking this tour around Bridgetown? I would love to read a comment from you, telling me what part you liked most among the buildings we already saw. And if you have ideas, I would love to listen to them. By the way, if you didn't see the first chapter yet, I'll leave the link at the end. For the next video in this series, I already know what I will show you. I am pretty sure you will like it. If you feel doing so, leave a thumbs up and subscribe, I'll appreciate. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching and bye bye!